Hello and welcome to David's Gift. My name is Sally Thibault. Do you know, self-care in this journey, looking after ourselves as both individuals and as parents, is such an important aspect in raising a child on the autism spectrum. Too often, we as parents put ourselves last. And well, in fact, we should be putting ourselves first. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be looking at ways that we can actually care for ourselves on this journey. And today I want to share with you one of the things that I used that I feel was one of the most powerful tools that I had in raising a child on the autism spectrum, and I believe today is still an incredibly inspiring thing to do, and that is the process of journaling. Now, I journaled a lot when my children were really little, and journaled right up to just a couple of years ago when I began writing books and blogs, and I've actually just started it again, and I realized that it's actually different from writing a blog. It's actually different from doing anything on computer. The actual writing in a journal is very, very empowering, and I want to share 5 reasons why I believe journaling is one of the most powerful things you can do in helping you on this journey of raising a child on the autism spectrum. Number 1, it's often difficult to see just how the strategies we use are coming to any fruition. Our children tend to develop one step forward, a couple of steps back, and a few steps to the side before they go one step forward again. And it can be very frustrating and overwhelming sometimes when you think things aren't working. When you actually journal, you can actually see these small, incremental, developmental stages that our children are on. It's challenging sometimes not to want to compare them to the neurotypical children, especially if they're in a mainstream class. But in keeping focused on your child's own journey and your journey, you can begin to see that, in fact, these strategies are working or not, and how your child is developing. And when you get that clarity, it can make all the difference in the world, but you just need to write it down sometimes. Number 2, meditation is really good for us. I read all the time that we should be meditating a couple of times a day, as if. I would love to have the time to do that, but most of us don't. Gosh, if I sit down and close my eyes for 2 seconds, I'm asleep. That's it. It's gone all over Red Rover. The idea behind meditation is to slow our brainwaves down. So alpha state in the brainwave is where you're alert and working and your mind is active. Then you move down into theta, which is where you go into kind of that daydreaming mode and self-introspection. And it often happens when you're doing kind of things monotonously, not paying any attention. And the third is this beta state, which is where you need to get this meditation. Now, when you can't do that because if you sit down and close your eyes, you're going to fall asleep, the next best thing is actually to get your thoughts out on paper and to begin the process of actually writing. And it's that slow, methodical way of writing that is a way of calming your brainwaves down. Now, when that happens, you're moving down into that brainwaves different states. What you do is you kind of switch from that high energy thing. And, let's be honest, for parents who are raising children on the spectrum, we are in alpha all the time. We don't walk into a place and just sit down, with our children. We're constantly on guard, watching where they are, watching what might set them off, on guard for this kind of meltdown if it's going to occur. We don't calm down and relax like normal people do. So it's important that we manufacture that state, and the process of writing actually does that, moves us down into those different levels of brainwaves, and the ideas start to flow, and the insight comes, and oftentimes it's where you can tap into your intuition and wisdom. Number 3, on the same level of that, is that it's really important sometimes to get our emotions out on paper. I truly believe for parents raising children on the autism spectrum is we bottle a lot up inside. We're just terrified if we scratch the surface, we might just go too deep and not be able to get back out again. And that can eventually lead to illness. A lot of parents on the spectrum end up getting sick because they hold everything inside. So you need to get those emotions out on paper, and that really helps you to give you some insight to what's going on. Write your emotions. If you're angry, if you're sad, if you're frustrated, get them out. Then get those thoughts and feelings out of your body down onto paper. Number 4, This was brought home to me by a friend who also journals, and recently she had a meeting with a number of teachers at her son's school over some issues of bullying. Now, she's been journaling for a while now, and she was actually able to present to them documented evidence of times, dates, children involved in the bullying, and how it was handled or not over this period of time. Really gave the educators an unemotional history by which they could see that she actually was, telling the truth, that some of the things her son was going through hadn't been dealt with properly. Very powerful to be able to give the educators documented evidence and to create that timeline. And finally, number 5, our children say the funniest things sometimes, but they also say things that are very insightful, and they do things that can be quite quirky. It really helps if you can write all those things down, because you won't remember them as you get older, and it creates that lovely history. And it's great for the kids themselves. My children are older now, and they love going back through my journals, the parts that I let them read, and reliving some of the things that they did. And they often ask, what are some of the funny things I did when I was little? It really is a little bit of history that you can hold on to and you can share when your child is much older. I would be really interested in your thoughts about journaling. If you journal and how it works for you, would you like to try journaling but can't quite find the time? Or even if you're a blogger and you blog regularly, please put your link below. Really interested in your comments, because I believe if we can share our ideas together we can make a real difference. I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye for now.